Hey, let me read to you from 1984, and I really can't do justice to this, but I keep promising to read it, and then I never do. And this illustrates basically everything that we are facing. And so I think I'm going to do just a special report with Aaron Dykes that we'll post on prisonplanet.tv sometime next week, where we actually add images to all of this, and I really break it down and explain it in like a 10-minute video. But George Orwell worked for the British Imperial government as a police officer in India. Then he worked for the communists in the Spanish Civil War. Then he worked in propaganda during World War II at BBC. And he wrote essays and described the fact that this is what he believed they were trying to set up, and that they were playing the left and the right against each other, and it was all staged. And the government was staging terror attacks to bring in their world government. And so in 1984, he died about a year after it came out. He hid out on an island in Scotland when he wrote it. He was a British spy, and from a good family. That's why I was brought into it, where he breaks down what they want to do and how they are asinine on purpose, just to break our will and condition us to accept anything. And the more I get knowledge about the globalists, the more I read this book, and it's, you think you've understood how powerful it is, and then it goes to a new level. That's why Hillary Clinton says this is her favorite book. Obama says his favorite book is Brave New World, because these are Bibles of what they're going to do to us. But as Huxley said, it's a mixture of the two. At his Berkeley speech in 61 or 62, shortly before his death, the Earth is the center of the universe. The sun and the stars go around it, O'Brien is saying as he tortures Winston. Winston made another convulsive movement. This time he did not say anything. O'Brien continued as though answering a spoken objection. For certain purposes, of course, this is not true. When we navigate the ocean or when we predict an eclipse, we often find it convenient to assume that the Earth goes around the sun, that the stars are millions upon millions of kilometers away. But what of it? Do you suppose it is beyond us to produce a dual system of astronomy? The stars can be near or distant accordingly as we need them. Do you suppose our mathematicians are unequal to that? Have you forgotten doublethink? It's a science to be delusional, you see. Winston shrank back upon the bed. Whatever he said, the swift answer crushed him like a bludgeon. He's on a rack being tortured. And yet he knew that he was in the right. The belief that nothing exists outside your own mind, surely there must be some way of demonstrating that it was false. See, it's about accepting mental illness is what the New World Order is. Because they don't want anybody to be able to think but them, see. Had it not been exposed long ago as a fallacy, there was even a name for it, which he had forgotten. A faint smile twitched the corners of O'Brien's mouth as he looked down on him. I told you, Winston, he said, that metaphysics is not your strong point. The word you're trying to think of is sulfism, but you are mistaken. There is no such thing, and it goes on. Collective Sophism, or however you pronounce this, if you like it. But that is a different thing. In fact, the opposite thing. All this is digression. That's true. It's destroying everything. He added in a different tone. The real power, the power we have to fight for night and day is not power over things, but over men. He paused and for a moment assumed again his air of schoolmaster questioning a promising pupil. How does one man assert his power over another, Winston? Winston thought, by making him suffer, he thought. Exactly, by making him suffer. Obedience is not enough. The TSA must grab your daughter's genitals. Oh, I'm sorry, that isn't in the... We'll be right back. Stay with us, Overdrive. Forgotten what solipsism is in philosophy. I've got to look that up after the show. Continuing with O'Brien torturing Winston to teach him that there's moral relativism and that perception is reality, so that he just be a mindless vassal to Big Brother. They could just kill him, but they want to break him first, because really, Brian tells him, we just like to torture people. That's the whole point here, and he's going to tell him in a minute. Winston thought, by making him suffer, he said, exactly. Make him suffer. Notice he thought, and O'Brien said exactly. He already knows the human mind so well. Exactly, by making him suffer. Obedience is not enough. Unless he is suffering, how can you be sure that he's obeying your will and not his own? Power isn't inflicting pain and humiliation. Power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. Do you begin to see? That's why they're genetically splicing everything and ruining the planet. Do you begin to see then what kind of world we're creating? It is the exact opposite of the stupid, hedonistic utopias that the old reformers imagined. A world of fear and treachery is torment. A world of trampling and being trampled upon. A world which will grow not less but more merciless as it refines itself. Process in our world and progress will be progress towards more pain. The old civilizations claimed that they were founded on love and justice. Ours is founded upon hatred. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. Everything else will be destroyed. Everything. Already, we are breaking down the habits of thought which have survived from before the revolution. We have cut the links between child and parent, and between man, and between man and woman. No one dares trust a wife or child or a friend any longer. See, they got ads. Oh, I forgot they have a new law. I'm so conditioned, I didn't even cover it. A new law Lamar Smith's trying to pass where you get immunity when you say false things about people. Just a hell world. And they always show the tattling like a fun golf course or football game, like it's part of the fun game to do it. No one dare trust his wife or child or a friend any longer. But in the future, there will be no wives and no friends. Children will be taken from their mothers at birth, that's done in North Korea, as one takes eggs from a hen. The sex instinct will be eradicated, that's with chemicals in the food and water. Procreation will be an animal formality like the renewal of a ration card. We shall abolish the orgasm. Our neurologists are at work upon it now. There will be no loyalty except loyalty towards the party. There will be no love except the love of Big Brother. They actually use porn to do that, to wreck your sexuality. There will be, and that's what they said to end procreation, and they'll call it a fun rite. There will be no laughter except the laugh of triumph over a defeated enemy. There will be no art, no literature, no science. When we are omnipotent, we shall have no more need for science. There will be no distinction between beauty and ugliness. There will be no curiosity, no enjoyment or process of life. All competing pleasures will be destroyed. And this is what they want for us. They'll be in the walled central compounds. And this is only in the first phase. Then they just kill everybody. But always, do not forget this, Winston, always there will be the intoxication of power. And this is what it comes down to. You're like, why are you doing this? There doesn't seem to be any method at all. Oh, there's a method. The method is the result. The method is the madness. The method is the ocean in which they swim. It is the ether. It is the point. Pressing on the nerve of power, ripping teeth out, destroying, poisoning people, children dying of cancer, diabetes, death, pain, with the chicken neck control freaks sitting back laughing the whole time. But always, do not forget this, Winston, always there will be the intoxication of power, constantly increasing and constantly growing subtler. Always at every moment there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want the picture of the future, imagine a boot stomping on the human face forever. He paused as though he expected Winston to speak. Winston had tried to shrink back into the surface of the bed again. He could not say anything. His heart seemed to be frozen. O'Brien went on. And this is it. All right. Aaron Dykes is sitting in a little bit. We got, Mike Adams tomorrow. God bless you all. For centuries. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.